Hi, I'm Brandon Walton, and welcome to UTP Presents. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge. At this time, I'd like to welcome my guest, Sam Johnson. Sam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
So Sam, would you please introduce yourself and your involvement in the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge?
Sure. So as you said, my name's Sam Johnson. I am an MBA student at the College of Business and Economics. I'm in my first year. I also am I'm a graduate assistant for the Center for Entrepreneurship, and our primary sort of activity for this year is putting on the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge. So I'm also the co-chairman of the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge.
What made you get involved in the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge?
Well, I didn't have much choice in the matter. It was basically what the Center for Entrepreneurship has assigned me to doing. And so it's something that I see as a huge opportunity for myself, for the students in Idaho, and for Boise State. And so, yeah, it's basically something that I was thrilled to get the chance to work with, not necessarily something that I chose just because the program is so new.
So for those people that don't know, what is the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge?
So the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge is a series of events and workshops that sort of lead up to a statewide business plan and business model competition. It's basically an opportunity for the students in Idaho. You have to be a student to compete, to come up with an idea, to turn it into a business plan or model, and then compete for some incredible prizes against the rest of the state. And so, yeah, it's a pretty cool opportunity for everybody. So
give us a little background, kind of the history of this event. How did it kind of get started?
Sure. So essentially, Zions Bank is the title sponsor for this year, and they approached Boise State asking us if we could sort of replicate a business plan and business model competition that occurs in Utah every year called the Utah Entrepreneur Challenge. And so they came to Boise State and said we would like, and they're the primary sponsor for that event in Utah as well, and they said we would like to start something like that here in Idaho. And then we also would like Boise State University to administer the program. So it's basically Zions Bank having this idea and wanting to spur entrepreneurship and spur students with their business ideas in the state of Idaho.
So how has that relationship been with Zions Bank? Have they been a pretty good partnership since
They've been
it started?
Incredible to work with. Tons of support, and I mean clearly they're one of the primary financial contributors to the event. We have several other sponsors who play an important role as well, but Zions Bank is definitely an incredible sponsor to work with. They've done so much in terms of providing us with a lot of administrative support, and then also the financial support, and then we've also worked with them to on our basically a series of lectures that are trying to pick apart different facets of starting a new business. And so they've helped us a lot with that as well, trying to educate Idaho and Idaho students about what it takes to actually start a new business.
And you mentioned the other sponsors that are helping you guys out. What are some of the other sponsors? Are they local, kind of like Zions Bank is? Or?
Yeah, so probably the next most important is Boise State itself.
Okay.
Boise State is throwing a huge amount of weight behind this event. And so the College of Business and Economics is really the primary sort of thrust behind that. And they've done so much in terms of providing the sort of labor at the Boise State level to organize and implement this program. And so they're a huge contributor and partner in producing this event as well. And then after that, we've gone out and found several community sponsors who are companies in Idaho who want to be a part of this, who see the potential in the students of Idaho producing their business ideas and bringing them to reality. So a big one is Trademark Sign Company. They've helped us with, first off, they're sponsoring the winning team, and they will be providing branding and signage assistance for the winning team, helping them develop a logo, helping them basically brand themselves a lot better. That's kind of what they do. And then they also developed some incredible trophies that are going to sort of honor the winners of the business plan and business model competition. Those trophies are downright incredible. They're beautiful. They're going to be beautiful sort of monuments to the winner, and they're kind of like Stanley Cups. They'll have the names upgraded year after year, and they'll travel around based on which team wins the competition. So if another school, hopefully they'll stay here at Boise State, but if another school, should another school win the competition, they will get to actually go to that school and stay there for the year, and then come back for the competition next year, and then keep adding to that list of winners.
Now you mentioned the other schools. Now this is not just limited to Boise State, but other colleges around Idaho, correct?
Yes, and so there's 20 colleges and universities in Idaho, and we invited all of them to participate in the competition. Not all of the schools in the state have accepted that invitation, so not everybody in the state is sending a team. What that means is that we're going to have some extra space in the finals for some of the bigger schools or schools that have basically business programs to send multiple teams. We are still, those chips are still in the air a little bit, as they say, because we have yet to finalize how many schools are going to submit a team, and then how many teams from each school we're going to be taking. But it should be a nice field of Boise State teams, and then quite a few from around the state. Definitely the other schools in the state with strong business programs plan to represent and bring their A game.
Do you guys plan on hopefully bringing this program to every school in the state of Idaho, hopefully?
Eventually, yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing we would love to see every school in the state try to take advantage of this opportunity, just because we haven't talked about what's up for grabs, but it's a huge purse that the winning team gets to take home. The winner of the business plan competition for the statewide finals takes just a $40,000 check plus a huge support package to help them start their business. And so it's the kind of thing, this is a small startup company's dream. It's not a loan, and you're not giving up equity in your company. This is a check to say, here's the best gift that we can come up with to go start your company. It's also going to include a support package from a lawyer partnership, from an accountant, and then, like I said, from Trademark Sign Company. These are different professional services that will help that business avoid costs and then strengthen their initial sort of launch. So it's basically an incredible opportunity for someone with a good idea here in Idaho.
Now you mentioned 20 schools, and that sounds like a lot of schools that kind of get organized. So how'd you guys able to manage that?
So a lot of that is relying on the contacts that Professor Kent Newport, who is the director of the Center for Entrepreneurship, already has. So he is a very well-connected faculty member at Boise State College of Business and Economics. He's been teaching business in the state for a long time, and he knows several of the other faculty members at other schools. So when it comes to outreach to these other schools, we're kind of relying on Kent and his network with other faculty at other colleges and universities.
Now you mentioned the Utah Entrepreneur Challenge. Are there other entrepreneur challenges across the state? Is there a kind of a national competition as well? Or?
Absolutely. So business plan competitions occur all the time and all over the place. We've actually held business model competitions here at Boise State for years, and I think it was called the Business Venture Challenge at Boise State. It no longer runs, but for quite a few years it was hosted at Boise State, and that was an international business plan competition. You could submit from anywhere in the world. And so, yeah, they occur a lot. And then there is sort of a next level of competitions after ours. So if you win the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge, if you win the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge with the business model track, you will get to go to the nationwide business model competition and compete there, and hopefully compete for a bunch more money against the rest of the states in the country.
Now, does Boise State have like an official club now, like an Idaho Entrepreneur Club, or is it just kind of like individuals that participate, or do you guys do like a group meeting?
Well, in terms of, are you asking how the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge is administered, like how we run the competition, or just in terms of entrepreneurship at Boise State?
Entrepreneurship at Boise State.
So that's something I should know that, but I don't think that there's an official entrepreneur club, like designated by the events center. But it's definitely something that we will hopefully get started, just because it's the kind of thing that there's so much support that needs to take place. There are quite a few resources for students who are planning on competing in the competition or just in starting their own business. There's the Venture College which basically accepts students into the venture college and then helps them develop and move through the validation process for their idea, and then hopefully launches that business. And then that's a really easy segue from the venture college's program into competing in the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge. Basically, like if you've run through the venture college, you are ready to just turn it in and compete because you've done so much of the work. There's also the Small Business Development Center in the College of Business and Economics. That's not actually a Boise State run program, but it's something that is like a resource for students and anybody in the community. That's just anybody in Idaho, I think, can access some of those resources. So there's quite a few resources for students with good business ideas out there. At Boise State and around the state.
Using those resources, were you able to kind of spread the word about this new competition that was coming to Boise State?
Yeah, and it's been, it's a challenge rolling out a giant program like this, especially with how much time we were given. Basically, Zions Bank, approached us in the summer, and we finalized things right at the beginning of the school year, and it took a month or so to just wrap our heads around the size and scope of this project, and then build a team that is ready to organize and market and do the outreach, do the sponsorship coordination, do the marketing, do the all of the different facets that go into running this competition. So we recognize that this year it's been a bit rushed in terms of the lead up to the competition, but Zions Bank has a 3-year commitment to the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge. And so for at least the next 2 years after this year, and hopefully many more after that, they've been sponsoring the Utah Entrepreneur Challenge for 12 years. So it's basically, this is something that we see as an addition, a permanent addition to the Idaho business education landscape, and something that is going to be worth gearing, if you're in business education or if you have a good idea, it's worth working towards all year long. It's something that we're building towards for multiple years too. We want this to be the biggest landmark in something that everybody in the state knows about and strives for and wants to compete in.
Was it pretty popular? Did you have a lot of interest immediately when this thing came to Boise State?
Yeah, like I said, it took some time to build the momentum, but I think that by the time we have our statewide final championship in March, it's at the beginning of March 4th through 7th, we will have made quite a big impression on the state as well as the education community.
Now, you guys recently just had your first competition at the end of January. How did that event go?
It went fantastic. We had quite a strong field of teams, both in the business model and business plan track, and the event went pretty smoothly. It was a really good opportunity for our team, the organizers of this event, to sort of see it as a test run in putting on a business plan competition. Because aside from Kent Newport, most of us haven't worked on a competition like this. He's run many of them. So he's the guy in the room who's cool as a cucumber, not freaking out. The rest of us are running around like chickens with our heads cut off. But it went well. It went very well, smoothly, and we ended up with 2 great winners of the business plan and business model tracks, and then several other candidates who got some great practice with what it takes to go through one of these competitions. So it's a really good thing for both Boise State and the competition as a whole.
Now, speaking of the winners, who were the winners of the event and what kind of prizes were they able to receive?
Sure. So in the business model track, the winning team was called Vivid Roots, and they are basically they've got a really cool, it's basically an apparel company that uses their profits to make a huge change in clean water efforts in the third world. And then they won $5,000, which is basically just a great sort of, all right, guys, this is, again, it's not a loan, it's not something that they have to pay back. It's basically your idea is worthy of an investment, and it's basically here's some money to help with that. And then, excuse me, and then the business plan competition was won by a company called Real Time Adventure Data, and that's a group of mostly engineers who also love to go backcountry skiing, and developed a really cool product to help increase the levels of safety in the backcountry. And so it's really cool because we've got sort of a socially driven apparel company competing against this data-driven engineering-based company, and both have excellent ideas. And we were able to give $5,000 checks to both teams, which felt pretty good, and then send them off, both of them off to the statewide final championships. And so we're rooting for them. Go Vivid Roots and go Real-Time Adventure Data. I have to say that with, as a Boise State student, not as an administrator of the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge. Of course, I want Boise State students to bring home the bacon.
Right.
But I also, we're setting it up so that there's going to be very impartial judging. And so the only way they're going to do that is by actually being the best business plan or business model competitors out there.
You mentioned the judging. Who judges these events?
So that's a good question. We basically do outreach into the community and try to identify either entrepreneurs who have a good understanding of what it takes to be successful in starting a business, people who are experts at evaluating plans or business models, who really have a combined wealth of understanding of what it takes to do this, and then also basically prominent and excellent members of the community who know what they're doing when it comes to looking at a plan and testing whether or not the plan holds water. So yeah, we've got a fine list of local and regional and even some national level judges who will be coming in and basically helping to evaluate those plans and models.
Was there a great turnout for this event? Did you have a whole bunch of different teams competing in this thing?
At the Boise State Entrepreneur Challenge?
Yep.
Yeah, so it was, like I said, it was the first year that we've done this, and we didn't get our marketing efforts ramped up and educate the students like we will next year. It's the sort of thing that to really validate a business model takes 6 months is what they say. And we really got the word out at Boise State with 3 months to go. So we didn't get as many teams as we hope to get in the future, but the teams that we got are very serious and have excellent, they're quality teams, and they've got really good ideas. So, in terms of number of teams, it was fine. We filled up the competition, and we had a lively competition that way. But in the future, we hope that we're engaging a much broader segment of the student body, meaning this year we mainly pulled from the business school and the engineering school. But we want everybody at Boise State to know about it. Anyone with a good idea, whether it be, if you have a digital design idea, whether you've got, you work in the nursing school and you've come up with a product or a service that you could sell. Anybody who's got an idea throughout the entire school should know about this competition and know it's available as an opportunity.
Did other schools in Idaho have similar competitions at the same time, or are you still waiting for the results of those? Or? Yeah,
so the University of Idaho has their own business plan competition, and so they are basically, they turned that into their qualifying competition for the statewide. And so the winners of that are going to represent U of I at the finals in March. And so, like I said, we still are doing some sorting of how many teams from around the state are going to be able to participate in the final championships and how many from each school are going to participate. We should have all that ironed out within the next week, I think. The 17th, I think, is the final deadline, and then the submission deadline, once we choose, is the 20th. So by the 20th, we'll have our list of teams.
Now, you mentioned the competition in March. That's your next one, March 5th. Talk about that event. It's going to be at the Stuckel Sky Center, correct?
Oh boy, we've got a whole list of things that we're doing, and it's going to be quite a crazy, it's 4 days actually. I think that we start with a reception on Wednesday night, and then the competition, the primary rounds of competition, the sort of semifinals, take place on the Thursday, I think it's the 4th, and then the 5th. And then the final rounds take place after that on Saturday, and then the whole schedule is going to be published online. Essentially, we're going to have a final championship awards ceremony that's going to take place at the Stuckel Sky Center on that Saturday the 7th. And that event will be open to the public. We might have to limit the number of people from the public, because hopefully we'll fill it up and it'll be hard to get in there. Because there's going to be teams from around the state. There's going to be all these sponsors who've want to come see what they've donated to, and then all these judges, all these people from Boise State. We're also inviting, in order to help build this awareness in schools from around the state, we're inviting administrators from around the state to come and see the competition, to learn about it so that they can go back to their respective schools and spread the word there. And so, yeah, the final schedule for that, everything that you want to know, all your answers to all your questions are going to be at entrepreneur.boisestate.edu. And we will have the final schedule as well as what events are open to the public. Some of the receptions that we're having are just for the judges and competitors, whereas others are we want everybody to come. Mm-hmm. And you can actually come watch the competition. You can come watch the teams pitch their ideas. You can watch the judges try to pick those ideas apart. If you've ever seen Shark Tank and you want to see it live, this is your chance. So especially the final round, that should be a ton of fun because there's a panel of 6 judges, I think, maybe just 5, but I think it's 6. And it'll be the best teams from around the state who make it into the final round of competition. And we should be doing our best to make it sort of fun and theatrical and build it up as an event worth watching, really. So yeah, entrepreneur.boisestate.edu.
Are there going to be representatives from big businesses there too to kind of see these ideas and potentially lead the jobs for these students?
We certainly hope so. I mean, that's something that these business plan competitions oftentimes lead to. It's the kind of thing that just because you don't win the competition doesn't mean you can't meet the right people and shake their hand and then get investment in your business idea anyway. You know, it was only going to get to be one winner of the business plan and one winner of the business model. But there's a bunch of great ideas that are going to be showing up in Boise in the beginning of March. And hopefully there's going to be people with interest who can come to these. You know, if you're an angel investor out there, this is going to be a great opportunity to potentially shop around for some good investment opportunities.
Because of this event and competition, do you envision students having, great success in the future?
Absolutely. So here's one of the biggest benefits that I see of having this competition every year. Most entrepreneurs, when they write their first business plan or business model, they're doing it when it matters the most. It's when they're actually starting that business and when all their chips are in. This is an opportunity to go through that process multiple times without much skin in the game. You're basically just running through validating your business plan or business model. You've got your idea, and then you're running through that process of turning it into a plan, translating your business idea into something that a bank or an investor or a business partner can read and understand and say, okay, you aren't just selling me an idea, you're selling me an idea with a foundation and a structure to it. And so that's the biggest benefit I see is like, we want students who, by all means, go start your business idea, but do it in a way that is like responsible and actually making sure that you have a customer segment out there and that you can extract revenue from them, that your business will succeed as a business. And so that's the beauty of this program is that we're basically offering students and incentivizing students to do that every year. If you're a freshman right now and you do this process 4 times by the time you graduate as a senior, imagine how much better prepared you're going to be. Even if you don't win a single dime throughout the course of the competition, just going through that process 4 times is going to make you so much better prepared to actually do it, to start your own business when you want to, when you graduate. And hopefully, you'll get good enough at it that one of your businesses will take off and you'll just have that. But that's our goal, is to basically get the students in Idaho really practiced at developing those ideas and translating them into the language of business.
Now you mentioned the 3-year commitment by Zions Bank. Do you imagine this a competition going further than that and getting bigger perhaps? Or
we certainly hope so, and it's the kind of thing that we are all of our thinking is much longer term than 3 years. So for instance, the trophies that we just had made, they have spots for quite a few more than 3 years. So there's if we run out of room on those trophies, that'll be a very good thing, and it will be far more than 3 years that this competition's around. So
who would you say would be the biggest threat to Boise State in terms of the Idaho school that might?
I mean, the other. I don't know that I should answer that question as a Boise. No, of course, University of Idaho for sure is and then BYU Idaho. I know that they've got a strong business program and will be bringing their A game. But I think we'll see. We'll see. I think our teams have a great shot, and we've got some excellent competitors. So I don't know. I can't speculate too much.
Do you see this maybe potentially being a little bit of a rivalry between the
that
Idaho
would be
schools?
It's hard for that not to occur.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's implicit in just the way that the state works. I mean, we have rivalries and everything else. Why wouldn't this be the case too? Our goal, though, as we run this program, is to create an environment of welcoming and of fair play. So it's the sort of thing that we will totally undermine what the goal of the competition is if we're not creating a situation that everybody in the state feels equally invited and has the same opportunity to win. So that's definitely our goal, and we are doing a good job of making sure that's the case. So
can students still get involved even though these kind of competitions are still kind of underway?
Absolutely. So you can't compete any longer because in order to compete in the statewide finals, you had to make it through the Boise State competition. So you basically our qualifying competition's over. So we know which teams we could potentially pull from and send to the finals. But head to entrepreneur.boisestate.edu, and there is a ton of just opportunities to see the competition. First off, so if you're interested, first thing to do is just come to the competition in March. And then after that, we will be keeping any sort of news about what's next up on our website. And so we will definitely do a better job of getting the word out earlier and one of the things we try to do is to create mixing opportunities where, let's say you've got an idea, let's say you're an engineer and you spend all your days in the product development lab and you've come up with some really cool new gadgets or gizmos, and you think that someone would want to buy them, and they're definitely like a cool new product, but you're not a business student. You don't know how to conduct the interviews with the customers, to write to do financial projections that not just guessing, but that someone can actually ask you hard questions about and have really strong answers for why those numbers are there. So we try to do that. We try to pair people with great ideas with the skills, the business skills necessary to translate that idea into the plan. And so there will be opportunities like that. So just because you don't have a great, sense of how to write a business plan or business model doesn't mean that you can't still compete in this competition. The best teams are coming from combinations of people with different expertise. So someone with a great idea pairing with someone who's a great marketer, pairing with somebody who's a great financial analyst, and all getting together to make a really complete team. And so we will be doing more of that earlier next year, and then trying to support the teams as they go through the process of trying to get their plans and models complete. There's one of the other things that the Center for Entrepreneurship does is something called the Startup Shop, which is where we accept people who've got an idea, and no matter where they are in that idea, listen to their pitch, look at what they've got, and try to move them one step further down.
Right.
So say, okay, you're here, and the next thing you need to do, you've got a great idea, you need to go out and interview your customer and find out how much they're willing to pay for this product or service. Once you've got that, then we need to do this next step. Then we need to do this next step, and then keep polishing it. No matter where you are, we can basically help you move further down. So there's lots of resources out there, and the best hub for all of that is either the Center for Entrepreneurship page or the Idaho Entrepreneur Challenge, which again is entrepreneur.boisestate.edu.
And real quickly, are you guys going to be having any more competitions? And then also, besides the website, is there any other resources students can use to get in touch with you guys?
So as far as competitions, no, I'm okay with just doing one more giant competition that will include people from all around the state. But so this year, that's the only competition that we're still putting on. There are some other lead-up competitions that happened this year and that will happen again next year. The one big one that I need to explain is the Idea Summary competition, which is basically just a 2-minute long video and a maximum 2-page written summary of your idea. It's basically just looking at how good is your idea. It's not asking for the sort of critical analysis and depth that the later competitions are, but it's basically an opportunity for everybody to start formulating those ideas. And it's a statewide competition. The winners from this year came from U of I, and they have a great idea, and we're going to see them at the finals. They're a team to be reckoned with. And so, basically there's lead-up competitions that happen before the main finals, but those are already done for this year. They'll be on the schedule again for next year for sure. Okay, Sam, unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you so much for being on this show. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate it. All right, thank you everyone for tuning in to UTP Presents. This is Brandon Walton signing off. Until next time.